Yo, this episode's so hype. Probably the best Dragon Ball Super thing. Okay, that's pushing it, okay, because Goku versus Jiren, clearly that takes the top spot. But at the same time, you gotta judge this episode differently because your expectations for this episode were different, right? Goku versus Jiren, everybody knew that was going to be hype. I honestly wasn't expecting this episode to be that good. I just thought it was gonna be the end of Universe 3, we're moving on, and then the material afterwards when we fight Universe 11, yeah, that's gonna be hype. They really gave us a Christmas special. Them Japanese folks out there, they got me real hype. How many of you guys thought Goku was going down? Nobody really thought Goku was going down. If you think Goku was actually going to lose, I'm sorry you haven't been actually watching the story for that long, because we already know we're gonna get the Goku versus Jiren part 2. It's inevitable, everybody knows it's going to happen, but the way they pushed Goku almost going out and Frieza saving him, I'm like, whoa, because I didn't expect it. Like, you saw Goku crossing the out of bounds line, like, he was going to lose. Goku got defeated this week, and Frieza came in to save him. I was not expecting that. If anything, maybe you could have something like Android 18 sacrificing herself, kicking Goku. I did not expect Frieza of all people, you know, the one who, you know, extinct the Saiyan race pretty much, to come through and save Goku. And honestly, he complied this week with everybody else. He worked together with all of his Universe 7 teammates, and if it weren't for Frieza, we don't know if they could have lasted. Only Vegeta, Goku, and Gohan, and as well as the androids. Frieza was major this week in the defeat of this big giant monster. And then you've got Goku returning the favor to the android, saving 18, and I loved it how, you know, it's all like a cycle and it's all intertwined. So what do I mean by that? Goku gets saved by an android. Goku then saves an android, right? And then that very same android that saved Goku ends up sacrificing herself to help another android. Which this android, by the way, by the end of the episode, was on some like, I'm about to sacrifice myself for the entire universe because that's what I owe everybody type. This was insane. The writing in this episode was insane. If we got back-to-back episodes like this one for every single universe, I would never once complain about the quality of these nameless characters and the writing, but unfortunately that's not the case, right? If we got like 3 episodes back-to-back of what's this guy's name? Ani Laza, the fusion between Paparoni and the 3 robots that fused the previous week, if we got this dude on a rampage for 3 straight episodes, I would have absolutely loved it. And guess what? There's no Jiren, there's no Toppo or any of these other Universe 11 warriors. You don't necessarily need them to make the story hype. However, everything that we've got up until this point is only build up with the Universe 11 warriors. So that's where, when we get stuff with the other universes, it's just not as hype because it's like, where did these guys come from? And if they start putting up a fight against our warriors, it's like, how did that happen? Did they nerf our characters to try and even out the playing field? You see where I'm coming at, guys? Like, this episode was freaking phenomenal. Goku coming through and saving Android 18, like they could have added an entire dynamic to the power scaling with this dude, with this big giant monster. Like, for instance, if he swallowed Android 18, he'd probably get an even larger boost in power than he already has. And keep in mind, they opened up this episode like dude was on some Super Saiyan blue shit. This big giant monster was easily on Super Saiyan Blue Goku level. And it makes sense. It took, what, 4 or 5 of our warriors to stop this thing? By the way, just to interject really quickly, I love the little comedy scene they threw in between Whis and Shin. It was probably one of the best Whis moments in the series thus far, where Whis is just like, you know what? The strategy that they're using, our warriors are using, it's gonna work. Like, this big monster's not gonna be able to take him out because they're just gonna keep helping each other. Whis is like, you know what? This big giant thing, it should just start eating our warriors. And Shin is like, how could you be impressed by that? How could you be impressed by the power? I'm just like, really? This is what godly interactions have come to. Whose team are you on, Whis? He doesn't even have to pick a side because he knows dang well that if his universe gets erased, he'll be fine alongside all the other angels because all of this is a big scheme to get rid of all these universes so that the Grand Priest could basically have a monopoly on the power in the entire universe. Multiverse. Then you got Android 17 on the edge taking all these pew pew pew, like it's just an orgy of, it's like pretty much semen shots, guys, like it just pew 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 pew, and then you got this one major devastating blow from this big giant beast. Android 17's on the edge, even though he got the barrier ain't gonna help. And he's pretty much out of bounds, he's ready to go down, and then you got Android 18 coming there, sacrificing herself and just launching this dude up. And honestly, like, what a way to save Android 17. Like, that scene was so beautiful. I just love the concept behind someone sacrificing themselves, giving a push to another character, and then they fall out. I really like that. And at the end of the day, even though I liked Android 18, this sort of cleans up our team from an image standpoint because these are without a doubt our most powerful warriors. You know, Android 17 and 18, there is a disparity of power there. So we now got our 5 strongest warriors left on our team, and it's like more evenly matched with the other universes. Because, you know, having 6 warriors, guys, it really does feel like at this point in time, at Universe 7, there's like no way they're gonna lose. That's what it felt like to me. It evens out our team against the other universes, right? And I felt like, you know, who's next? Universe 3, they took out one of our warriors. It's possible they could take out 17, who I thought they could potentially down at the end because, listen, this dude jumped straight into hell. Like, Android 17, he jumped straight into hell to try and, you know, dysfunction that robot or whatever, break the energy reactor. Like, that was another crazy moment. Honestly, the Android 17 moment, definitely the best moment that he's had in the series thus far in Dragon Ball Super. One of the best moments from any character in the Tournament of Power thus far, and I actually got emotional. Like, Android 17 feeling like he owes everybody one, jumping straight into hell, basically making it through, and he's just pushing and pushing and pushing, and then he lands that shot on the dude's forehead. It's like, you know, if this were any other character pretty much, that wouldn't do a thing. What I mean by that is if it were Toppo or Jiren in the air and they were all in the same situation, punching the character on the forehead ain't gonna do a thing. But in this specific context, they applied some logic. Him being an android, he understands the functions behind this robot. And listen, guys, if they took this character, this giant beast, and they applied him to, like, you know, the Cell Saga Dragon Ball Z, we've got a major threat. There's no Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Like, these characters would straight up struggle. The way they built everything up, it felt like Android 17 was gonna die. He was gonna lose at the very least. I know die is not the right word right now. Obviously, eventually characters get erased, but I thought they were going to sacrifice Android 17. I thought we were going to lose both androids this week. That's how I felt. But seemingly they're going to save Android 17's loss, a big fat L on his part, with Universe 11. That's most likely what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be Toppo or Jiren coming in, just setting an example, like, this is what could happen to the rest of you guys if you don't start really, like, getting your shit together. I don't know how they're going to do everything, but this episode really just blew my expectations. I mean, it's Universe 3. Like, we never even heard about them, like, until this tournament really started. I mean, by the end of the ep, when Universe 3 gets erased, we actually see the real God of Destruction for the first time leaving Moscow's body. Well, this is Moscow leaving the robot's body, right? And I wish we would have just seen him from the start, because, like, the character design's pretty cool. It's like this little satanic figure, you know? Instead of this, like, big, giant, like, piece of metal that goes beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. Like, I felt like I was watching an episode of SpongeBob at the time when that thing was coming on. The beam struggle at the end was executed beautifully. I love how they split the screen to see all the different fighters just giving it their all, and they still got pushed back. That's the crazy part. Like, had Android 17 not messed up this dude's energy reactor, like, he got wings, he got ultrasonic sensors, so no matter how fast all of Universe 7 warriors are moving to try and hit him, he could just, like, you know, he could find exactly where they are and hit him. He could even, like, he punched through dimensions. Like, his power was so great, he was warping space. Like, that's crazy. Honestly, they pushed this dude like an OG. And it's pretty sad we didn't actually get more build up for this character, because it would have made more sense that way. Universe 3 wouldn't just come out looking like a crazy surprise, which is what they were. It was like a Christmas special, honestly, that they gave us. The animation, the artwork looked absolutely beautiful. It wasn't really that great at the beginning, but as more and more time progressed and the fight got more serious, they actually started pouring more effort into these scenes, and you could see it. Like, Goku Super Saiyan God, when he was getting hit and you saw him, like, getting back up, looked so beautiful. Honestly, it looked like Battle of Gods quality at certain instances in this week's episode. All I can say about this episode, 10 out of 10, was not expecting this. Probably second or third best episode of Dragon Ball Super this year, and that's just me being honest with you guys. So many amazing moments, Goku being defeated, Frieza coming in of all people to save him, and all the build-up. Like, they built this dude up this week. In fact, I don't really like how they did Vegeta at the beginning of the episode. They had him transform before everybody else and, like, test the waters. Like, they are not making Vegeta look really that good. So I'm hoping they make up for that next week's episode, because we know he's going to be going at Jiren, and he's probably gonna lose, but I hope he doesn't get knocked out, because I'm gonna rage at that point if Vegeta actually loses next week. And I loved it how Jiren's like, that is the last victory you are going to get, Goku, so be happy with it.